it's Gil. Today we're going to do another video in the pellet smoking series. For us, we happen to have a PitBoss combo pellet smoker and gas grill. I suspect that anyone that has any pellet smoker, or frankly even stick smoker, could use this same recipe and this same approach. Pellet smokers tend to be fairly easy because you can actually set the actual temperature and it'll stay right at that particular temperature you set it at. But then again, if one of you have a stick smoker where you're actually burning wood, logs, or charcoal, you likely are already good at that and you know how to maintain the temperature. I didn't trust myself to do that, so I went ahead and got a pellet smoker. So let me show you the meat we're going to do today. It feels so small in my hand as I pick this up. This is actually a center cut boneless loin roast, pork loin roast. This is not my favorite cut of pork. This is gonna be a new experience for me. Honestly, I love what they call a Boston butt or a pork butt. If you think of a pig, right? If the pig's head is here, you've got its body and then its front legs and its back legs. A Boston butt or pork butt actually comes from the top side of the pig above the front legs. What you hear of a picnic ham, right, or a shoulder roast, that actually comes right above where the legs come into the body, but it's on the lower half of the pig's body. That's where that cuts from. This particular cut comes from the back side of the pig, closer to the butt, ironically enough, though it's not. This is where you get your long, narrow loins, and this is the roast right near that. I don't know if it's above or below it. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. We'll get out to the grill, and we'll get it loaded up with the right wood pellets, the right flavor for this one, and get started. I do hope you enjoyed this video and you've enjoyed the other ones in our pellet smoking series. If you didn't, at the very end of this video, I'll have a link there to the entire playlist. It's everything from our initial purchase of this unit, the assembly, the first burn-in, and our experience starting to cook different items on it, which should be helpful because frankly, we goofed up a little bit. We tell you about what those are and hopefully you won't do the same. All right, we're outside at the grill. Let me go ahead and get this uncovered and get it started so it's preheating, and then we'll go inside and we will prep that roast. Because we're doing pork today, I want to try something a little different. In the past, we've always been using the competition blend, which is sort of a general purpose set of pellets that you can do with anything from poultry to beef. Because this is pork, I want to try to do a fruit wood, so I picked up some apple wood pellets. What I'm going to do is I have a little bit of competition blend left in here. I'm going to go ahead and drain out the competition blend and then put the apple wood pellets in for the smoke today on this pork roast. So I'm just going to open this up, and then I use something here to just sort of push all the pellets right down toward this center. And then what I'll do is I'm going to leave that there for a minute, and I'll open up the port in the back. Really pretty easy. I just have a little pail. It makes it pretty easy to do this. So right here on the back side of the hopper, we have this small slot here. I'm going to take this off. That's where the pellets are going to drop out. And then I'm going to go ahead and open up this port. Just basically going to unscrew it. You get the idea. You pull this out and the pellets fall, but I'm going to hold the pellet because I don't want to get them all over the place. And then I just use a poker of some kind and push them all down here so they run out the back. It's pretty simple. I've got my pellets. I'll just save these in the garage or dump them in the competition blend bag and they'll be ready for next time. So let me fill this up with some apple wood. The beauty is you don't have to empty this completely. As a matter of fact, if you look, it's low. It's not completely empty, but that's good enough because as it burns up to temperature, it'll go through that amount. And by the time the meat is on, it'll be the apple wood that's in there. Despite the fact that the instructions show to cut this whole thing off, I never do. There's a Ziploc portion of this and it sure is easier to pour if you only open a small section like that. So I've got the hopper about filled up halfway. This is a 20-pound bag. I'd probably put 10 or 11 pounds in there. I think that's going to be good. Let me go ahead and seal this up. So pretty simple at this point. I'm just going to go ahead and turn it on, get it on smoke so that it can begin to heat up. For anyone that hasn't used a PitBoss before, pretty simple. You push the power button, the blue light comes on, and then you turn the knob one click, which is the smoke setting. I typically leave the searing grates open just so I can see the flame, and then when I come back out here and before I put it on, I close that. So with our grill going, I can see the smoke starting to form out there. It's up to temperature. I am going to go ahead and prep my my pork. So yeah, I made my own rub. I have a little jar of it here. If you want to know how to make a rub, I'll put a link to a couple of different videos right in the upper right-hand corner. Really simple. You can play with the flavors. This one is salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion, a little bit of Tony Chachere's for a little Creole seasoning, and brown sugar. Helps get a nice crust on it. And you'll notice this pork roast has a pretty good fat cap on it. I'm gonna cook it fat cap up so that as that fat melts, it kind of renders down into the meat and helps flavor it up a little bit, since it's a little bit leaner of a cut than like a pork butt or pork shoulder. So let's go ahead and get this going. So I'm just gonna rub this on here, and you'll notice I'm rubbing it on pretty liberally. I really want to almost form a crust. Now I've patted this dry with a paper towel before I started, and I'm just doing this with the bit of moisture that's in the meat and having it stick on it. Now, we want to get all these sides here, so I'm kind of sticking it along the side. Do the same on this side. Form a nice little line here and just turn the side of the roast right on it. Let it stick onto that side. Then we'll put it on its back and we'll do the same thing here. All right, again, we want to get all sides of this. You'll notice I'm going down this side as well, using my hand like a dam here to make sure I'm getting it all down these sides. Same with over here. You can see how it's not all flavored right there. So I'm just going to slide this down and then use my hand to rub it into that side. Luckily, this side's pretty good, so now we're just going to put some more on top of this fat cap. And again, I'm sort of pressing this in. I want it to stick to this. My goal here is to build a crust so that when this cooks and smokes, as this dries, I'll even spritz it a little bit, and that will form a bit of a coat. So now that I put it on here, I'm gonna let it sit for about 10 minutes. And we want it to sort of look like it's glistening a little bit. That'll be the indication that it is ready to go put on, and not gonna be a problem to sit here for 10 or 15 minutes. So you'll notice this almost looks like it glistens. That's because that rub has sort of soaked into the moisture of the meat and started to form a bit of a crust. We want to put it on after it does that. If we put it on too soon, it sort of flakes off in the heat. But like this, it forms a crust. And as we cook it, if it starts to get too dry, I have a little spritzer bottle that I have. So the grill's up to about 250 degrees. Got my tongs to put this on so I don't have to put gloves on again. Got my spray bottle. Let's go ahead and get this put on the grill. As I mentioned, I'm gonna go ahead and cook this with the fat cap up. I'm flipping it over, and just setting it right on there. That's all there is to it. Yeah, it looks nice in there. You can start to see it smoking a little bit. That looks great. We're just gonna go ahead and close this lid. So I've got this set right now at
150 degrees.
I'm gonna let it smoke nice and low at
150 degrees.
About an hour. And then I'm gonna come back out here and I'm gonna check it. At that point, I will probably go ahead and put a probe into it and cook it until I get an internal temperature of 165. So it's been smoking on there for about an hour, maybe an hour and 10 minutes at 250 degrees. And it's looking pretty good. A little bit dry in one section, but still real moist back there. So I'm not gonna even bother spraying it down or anything. Just leave it like that, close it on down. You know what, I'll spritz the front of it just since it's here, just to keep it nice and moist. All right, so this has been on for about 2.5 hours or so. About an hour and 30 minutes into it, I went ahead and turned up the temperature a little bit more. It wasn't quite at the temperature I thought it should be, so I moved it up to 300 just to speed it along. Let's show you what it looks like though. So, looking pretty good. That fat cap looks good. Almost cooked up. So we'll let this go for probably another 25, 30 minutes. So when that thing reaches 165, and then I probe it in a few different places and it's 165. Certainly want to make sure pork's done all the way. All right, so the probe that's in the meat is showing 180 right now. It got a little hotter than the 165 I was planning, but I'm gonna go ahead and temperature probe this in a couple of different places and see how it does. 175, so that's plenty done. All right, this is ready to come off of here. Yeah, this looks pretty good. I'm gonna let this rest. We want all those juices to incorporate back into the meat. And while I set this over there, I'm gonna spray a little bit of water on here, scrub this down while I've got this in shutdown mode. So when you do that, don't forget most of that steams and comes right out. What doesn't, however, is going to run into the grease tray. So remember your grease bucket down below and never overflow it. The beauty of this is I didn't use apple juice this time, so I can just dump this in the garden and I store this thing open so it doesn't get mildewy and it's ready to go. So let's bring this thing inside and we'll cut it here in just a few minutes. All right, so we've got this pork roast. It looks pretty good. I'm gonna drop it onto this cutting board right here. Let's go ahead and get it on there. I think I'll just slice this corner and see how that goes. I don't want to do this too much, but I just want to sort of show the amount of juice coming out of that. You can see it, pretty juicy. I probably could have taken this off 15 minutes sooner.
What's up with all like the different coloring?
You mean where it's got this pink color on the edge?
And then there's like white.
So pork tends to be white, and then this pink ring, so my granddaughter is asking what's up with the different colors. Why is it white in the middle and then pink on the outside? So the white is typically the color of pork. The pink is actually what they call a smoke ring. So from all that smoking, that's from the smoke penetrating into the meat.
On the first one, it was like gray around the edges.
Yeah, that gray part there is just the backside of the fat. So if you look at like underneath here where this fat cap is, right there, that's the gray part. This top side has fat on it. That's what's split right here. And then I'll turn the camera around and me and my taste tester will let you know how it is. And we'll tell you if it's good or bad. Did you already try a piece?
No.
Yeah, it looks like you did. How was it?
Good.
All right, ready? Cheers. Well, you're gonna have, is the end good? All right, first impression, it's a little dry. I should have taken this off 15 minutes earlier. Do take it off at 165. I hope you enjoyed this video on how to do a center cut boneless pork roast on a pellet smoker. We'll see y'all at the next cooking.